Welcome back to the channel, guys, and in this video we're going to be covering the Ewok Hunter guide and star card setup in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now before we get into the video, comment section down below, let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 what you guys think of the Ewok Hunter. Now the Ewok Hunter is an Ewok that is a tiny yet cunning bundle of fur that hunts its prey with a bow, spear, and whisties. Now I've been holding off to cover this because when the Ewok Hunter was first introduced a couple of weeks ago, it was absolute trash. I hated playing with them. You could probably only get about 5 or 6 kills before it was pretty much over for you, and you had to go back to the menu and either get him again or you just got frustrated and had to pick another character. But they have since buffed him and he is actually a pretty solid reinforcement now. Like I said, he has his 3 different abilities, which are his Whisty pouches, his Hunter's Instincts, and his Valiant Horn. Now I'm going to go over all 3 of his different abilities along with his passive, and then make the best star card setup for him and talk about how to play with him and what maps he goes best on. So like I said, his first ability is his Whisties pouch, and this is the Ewok throws a pouch of Whisties hailing from the forest moon of Endor. These fierce fire sprites will disrupt and burn nearby enemies. Again, this is pretty much the same thing that was in Ewok Hunt. It recharges pretty quickly. This is really good if you're playing co-op or any sort of, normal game mode where you can throw these into a group of stormtroopers and it'll get about 2 or 3 kills, or weaken them enough to where you can pick them off with 1 or 2 shots of your bow. Like I said earlier, guys, he does have a bow and arrow, which is pretty good. If you zoom in with it and aim in, it's usually about a 1-shot kill to any trooper. And then if you're just spamming it, which is probably his easiest ability to use, all you have to do is really just get your cursor inside of the little box that shows up, and then if you hit him, it's about 3 or 4 hits with the spear before you can kill him. It used to be like 5 or 6 and he was absolutely terrible, but since then they have buffed him, which is why I'm doing the guide for him now. Now his second ability is his Valiant Horn. The Ewok blows its traditional horn that inspires him, giving him damage resistance and improving his attacks for a short amount of time. Again, guys, this makes your L1 better and your L1R1 better, so I would say, as well as his bow and arrow, so definitely be spamming this anytime it becomes available. You want to blow this fucking horn and go on an absolute rampage. Doesn't do, that much, but it is really the difference between, losing an extra 50 to 60 health as the Ewok. And his last abilities, which is his L1R1, is the Hunter's Instincts. The Ewok draws upon their natural instincts, allowing them to go undercover and single out weakened enemies. This is probably one of his better abilities. Obviously, it really does nothing for you if you're trying to get kills. Like the Whisties pouch does, it won't get kills for you, but it does make it easier for you to get kills. If you're playing on Endor or Yavin 4, which are primarily like tree life and bush base maps, you can kind of hide in the bushes and then press your L1, R1, and then you'll be able to see enemies wherever they are. It's the same thing as Ewok Hunt. You can run up to them, and then you can get them, hit them with your spear, or you can just shoot your bow at them. Now, the Ewok Hunter does have one passive ability. It's called Out of Sight, and this is when staying crouched, the Cunning Hunter gains faster recharge speed on all abilities. His abilities recharge pretty fast as it is on their own, but when you're crouching, it just makes them that much faster. And using the Ewok Hunter, I mean, his bow and his arrow and his spear are pretty good. They're not the best things in the game, but they're not the worst. He's a pretty solid reinforcement, but when you are running him, you're going to want to spam all of his abilities. That's what makes him not OP, but that's what makes him the best ability of the Ewok Hunter that you could possibly play. Is you want to blow your horn, then throw your Whisty pouches, and then hit your Hunter's Instincts, and then just keep spamming. It really is honestly just a bunch of spam. It kind of sucks to say that, but I found that the way to get the highest amount of kills with the Ewok Hunter is really just to spam off. So let's jump into the star cards. So the first star card that I run on him is Desperation. This is similar to the ISB agent. Honestly, all these star cards are the exact same, but it reduces his ability recharge time when damage is dealt to you. Again, his recharge time for his abilities are already pretty solid, so you just throw this on and then you can throw Whisty's pouch, 3 to 4 times a minute, which is honestly pretty OP if you're playing game modes like co-op and whatnot. But like I said, guys, in other videos and previous videos, we've done top 5 star cards, we ranked them all. But when we're playing with the Enforcer classes and the Reinforcement classes, there's only 5-star cards per each one. I'd like to see them kind of bump this up, whether it be in the future or in any future Battlefront title that they make. I think that they should definitely give guns and star cards to Reinforcements to make them a little bit better and give them a little more customization. But like I said, guys, I'm only going to read these next 2 and then we'll be done with the star cards, just because it's not really worth going through all 5 of them when 3 of them are really only the useful ones you need. The second one is Evasion, and this is you have +1 evade and faster evade recharge times. This is really good for when you're pushing up on enemies with your L1, R1, and then you start using your spear to kind of melee them. It just makes you faster, harder to hit, will increase the amount of It will increase your recharge times for your spear, so if you run out of stamina and you're one hit away, it'll recharge a little bit faster, and you'll be able to spear your enemy to death right towards the end. And the last star card I run is Stalker, and this is regain health when defeating an enemy you have revealed with your scanning ability. Like I said, guys, if you're playing the Ewok Hunter right, all you want to do is spam all of his abilities, and his L1 R1 is his scanning ability. This will give you more health after you defeat an enemy while you have this active. It's pretty good. It's not like the best star card in the world, but it's definitely better than the other two that are still available, especially since the Ewok Hunter is something where you're not really going to be doing a lot of damage in close quarters action. You're going to want to just kind of push up, use your abilities, use your whisties, and then back up a little bit and start to shoot with your bow and arrow. You don't really want to ever be right in the middle of all the action as an Ewok, just because you really don't have enough health, or enough cover for that matter, to deal with 6 or 7 troopers shooting at you. You're not that good as a reinforcement, but to be honest, he's better than most of them as long as you just stay back and kind of know your place of things. So the way that I play with him on maps like Hoth and stuff that are more wide open, to be honest, I really don't play with him on those maps just because he's not great at all. I would say if you're going to use the Ewok Hunter, try to use him on Endor and on Yavin 4, just because those maps are the best environment for him, where it's harder to see him in bushes, it's harder to see him amongst the trees, and you can obviously pick people off pretty fast with your bow if you're in pretty close quarters range. As for that, guys, like I said, their star cards really don't change much from any normal infiltrator class. Those are the standard 3 that are on pretty much every single reinforcement. I'd like to see that change at some point, just to give the characters and the reinforcements a little bit more depth. Overall, guys, I think the Ewok Hunter is probably like a 7 out of 10. When he first launched, he was a 2. I didn't want to touch him. I didn't want to make the guide. I was never going to make a guide for him, but since they buffed him, I figured, you know what, man? Hey, I'll run a guide for him. He's pretty solid and fun to play with now, and now that I got him leveled up all the way on PC, I can get you guys some pretty good gameplay for him. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Nothing too crazy, nothing too long. It's just the Ewok Hunter guide. This isn't like we're doing a specialist or assault class video, which I will be doing in the future. I'm going on vacation next weekend, so over the course of the next week, and then of course the following weekend into the week after, I'll be uploading about 5 videos that'll all be scheduled to go live on this channel. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Once again, guys, my name is Ben, and I'm out.